Welcome back to Vegas Live. I'm Ninon, your host, and we're having a fabulous time. We're actually down at Peppermill, and this is where we're going to be shooting our show, which is absolutely fabulous because we are actually sitting in the Elvis Presley booth, apparently. And so he may have sat right here, so how lucky am I? The unfortunate thing, I never did see his show, and I always wanted to see his show, so anyway, but we are in his booth. I have with me Tim Zimmerman. How are you, Tim?
I am great, thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to be here in the Peppermill. You know, back in the day, I actually came here some 30 years ago. So
I know, we're all kind of dating ourselves when we talk about the Peppermill, because the Peppermill's been here for years, and I think everybody's sort of gone in and out of this place. Even today, you've got the young ones coming in, the old ones, and all of them. They all come into the Peppermill, so it's very, very well known, and I love it down here. It's like
it's always
like
a
old
fun
Vegas.
place.
It's like old Vegas. It's fabulous, and that's why we're doing this show. We're doing this show. Obviously, it's all about the music industry, the entertainment business. It's all about Vegas, the old, the new, and the beginning, the starters, and it's a great place for the obviously the music industry, but it's a great place to sort of bring yourself out and to start this business and everything. But you are doing something totally different. This gentleman is actually not in the music business. Explain a little bit about what you do.
I'm a personal growth and development trainer. Some people would call me a motivational speaker. I'm a best-selling author, but I consider myself a trainer because most of the supposed training or inspirational talk today is really just that. It's talk and talk.
And you know, this kind of bothers me because we go through life and we go to school and then we go to college and we graduate and now we've got to be retrained, and it's like there's so many programs out there, everybody being retrained, and I'm looking at thinking, why are we all being retrained to get in touch with ourselves more, to find out who we are? Or
Well, it depends what the retraining is for. In many cases, like corporate training, that's really where I got my start, was in the Dale Carnegie courses. I was trained to teach all 5 of the Dale Carnegie courses, and they're really world renowned for the Fortune 500 companies. So sales, management, human relations and leadership, public speaking.
Okay, so when you come into a company and you get this job, so now you have to be trained to kind of do this job.
Right.
And that's what you do.
Right, depending upon what it is.
Well, wait a second. How did they get the job in the first place if they don't know how to do it?
Well, what I talk about is that if there were a way to increase your effectiveness 10 or 20 or 30% in everything that you do every day,
yes,
as far as communications, selling yourself, selling your ideas, executive abilities, planning, organizing, delegating, controlling, creative thinking, if you could do better in each of those areas, what would that mean to you?
Well, you could go up the ladder better, you know your job better, you can teach it better, you can help the company better. Right. So it does a whole bunch of things, and that's what you teach them.
Right, it actually increases the company's productivity, profitability,
rather than pushing papers
cooperation,
around,
and
they're actually
teamwork.
doing something.
Right, right. They're actually being more productive.
More productive into what they're doing, which is which is wonderful. But what brings you to Vegas for this? Because Vegas is not really a corporate place. It's not really a place where a lot of there's more of the music industry.
Well, there's a lot of corporate stuff. I was in mortgage banking for 25 years. So the reason why I was always successful in mortgage banking is I would go to a real estate broker and I'd say, this is my background in the Dale Carnegie courses. I'll do some free training for you. I'll get to know you. You'll get to know me. And then
it's like a barter thing going on.
As we increase your business, I expect that business for my mortgage business. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was always successful in that. What I've found now is that part of what I've done and what most people do when they're on the corporate ladder or the positive mental attitude treadmill, so to speak, is in looking at all of that for 40 years, I found that there's a particular way to go into your childhood negative belief systems and negative judgments.
We're going back to the 5-year-old, and we're going back to the first 5 years of your life. This comes up all the time, and everybody says to me, the first 5 years of your life is going to create the rest of your life.
Exactly. And the reason why that is that that belief system is implanted in you. So and actually psychiatrists say up to 6 and 7 years, it's actually implanted from you. From who? From your parents and those people around you as you're growing. But after that 6th year, once you start getting into grammar school, you start making negative judgments about yourself, like not being good enough, not being smart enough,
because,
not being whatever enough.
I'm going to interrupt you on that, because the reason why we get that is because parents, and they don't do this deliberately,
No.
but it's forever saying, no, you can't do this, no, you can't have this, no, you can't, wait, stop. It's always these very negative things that seem to bounce into this child for the first 5 years.
Right. Do you know how many times a child actually hears no in their
I would hate to
each
think.
year? You know, I said, well, maybe 10,000 times. It's 220,000 times per year a child hears no, okay, which is incredible. But what happens is that belief system, and then the judgments we make about ourselves, those internal self-judgments, up till 19, is what runs our life. So what's interesting to me, and this just came out in the last couple of years as far as a protocol that I've developed, is that when we look at our programming, well, who programmed us? Our parents, right? And how
we
old?
have to say that parents are the guardian or whoever brought us up, because there's different people that bring us up
Right,
sometimes, but
right.
whoever for the first 5 years
Right.
brought us up.
Right, but how old were they when they were programmed?
Well, I presume they were also 5.
They were 5, 6 years old, right?
Because we all have
And
that
who
kind
programmed
of
them, though?
Their parents too. So
And they were 5 or 6 years old. So everyone from Adam and Eve, or Noah, whichever you believe, down to now, everyone's been programmed by this 6-year-old program, and we wonder why everyone acts like children.
I have to say something, because I think I broke the code.
Yes,
I think
we talked about
I think
that.
I broke the
and
code,
that was
because
very interesting.
I have never related back to that time, and I'm trying to think of what it was and if I was no, but I can't remember my parents ever doing that. I think I was a happy child anyway, but I don't remember having any of that sort of negative stuff. I don't quite remember that, so maybe I got lucky. Maybe some kids out there can get lucky. I don't know.
In many cases, what happens, you know, there's multimillionaires, for instance, you know, what's driving them? You know, some people say that it's greed or whatever, but
the first
really,
5 years.
it's the feeling that they're not good enough, or they're not smart enough, or they're not doing enough that keeps them on the $1 million.
They keep trying and trying and trying to, even though they've got everything they need, or probably more than abundance of what they need, they're trying for more.
Right, and the reason is because your negative judgment about yourself, that not being good enough or not being lovable, whichever that is,
Keeps zooming up.
well, what happens is that you internally act the opposite to try and overcome that, but you can never overcome that. I call it the millionaire syndrome, or the celebrity syndrome, in that you have everything and you're still not satisfied.
So are you saying that the majority of people in this world are really kind of not satisfied?
Oh, yes.
That's sad out there. The majority of people aren't satisfied. And my greatest saying, if I die right now, I would die the happiest woman in the entire world. I have literally had everything. But I don't know if I've appreciated the things that weren't good. I think I may have appreciated that as well from learning from that.
Right, because that made you
me,
who you are.
Yeah, from me, it's always been, if I make a mistake, wow, oh dear. Well, it's not really a mistake. I can learn from that.
Right.
So I've always put it into a different category, as of not a mistake, and not doing something wrong, but of learning by it. So is this what you're teaching?
Well,
Or trying to teach?
Well, what happened, I mean, that happens for you. In many cases, it's unconscious, subconscious. So people would have a mistake, but then they would have a negative self-talk about the mistake to themselves. You're stupid, you're an idiot, you're never going to get anywhere. So they're hearing their parents or their siblings or whoever brought them up in this self-talk. And how do we create? We create through our thoughts, the words that we speak to ourselves and to others, the beliefs that we have, then the decisions we make and the actions we take. I call that the 5 laws of manifestation. But the main thing is that with beliefs, you know, everyone's, like Jesus said, as you believe in your heart, it is done unto you, right? Where do your thoughts come from? Your thoughts actually come from your unconscious, subconscious beliefs. Everything is filtered from that. Everything that you see in your life is filtered from it. So my thing is that if your life isn't working, or you're on that treadmill,
Change it.
well, this is the key. As I've looked for 40
give
years.
me a key that we're going to have to break.
I've looked for 40 years. The key is to be able to go into the unconscious, subconscious, and actually neutralize and eliminate those beliefs and those negative self-judgments, and then add the positive. Because if you have a computer program and the D drive is corrupted, it doesn't matter how much positive stuff you put on top of it, it's still going to give you corrupted information.
Okay.
Well, we're actually creating from our own D drive, our belief system and judgments, and it's not until we can go in and change that everything changes. And it's amazing to my clients that they can't understand why it happens so quickly.
The reason I had Tim on the show is because all the music people out there, if you watch this and listen to it and see what he has just said, is try to don't ever go into that negative mode of not being good enough. You are all good enough out there, but you're all in different degrees. So don't go and put yourself up here somewhere when you're sort of struggling down here. Try to move forward and think of the positive side of it. Think of how, I've come from here and I'm now here and I'm now here. And just because you're not as good as that person up there, doesn't mean to say you're not good.
Well, what happens is that the people strive to be better,
Of course.
to do more, have more, be more. But it's just like with Robin Williams or other celebrities, they have everything, but yet they're not satisfied. So what I do is go with you to your subconscious, unconscious, and help eliminate it there. Because unless it's eliminated there, nothing's going to happen. It's just like the UBS study with multimillionaires, 2,200 multimillionaires. They said, what would make you satisfied? 67% said double their holdings.
Double that. And they've probably got enough already.
Yeah, if they had 2 million, they needed 4 million. If they had 20 million, they needed 40 million.
Absolutely.
To me, that's the key, is that they feel that they're not good enough, or they don't have enough, or they're not smart enough, or they haven't done enough. And here, they're miserable, everybody around them are miserable, and they're still not satisfied.
We're still not satisfied. On that, we've got to take a break, and we're going to be right back. This is Vegas Live. I had a fabulous time with Tim Zimmerman. You've been amazing. A little bit of the inside of who you are, what you are. Check yourself out and feel good about yourself. Believe me, you're all beautiful out there. We'll be right back.